I think we're going to be in a good place in the Middle East. I think the Middle East will be in a good place. I think actually more difficult is going to be the Russia-Ukraine situation. I see that as more difficult.
More difficult? Dealing with Russia and Ukraine? More difficult? Trump seems weirdly pessimistic about that compared to how he spoke about that topic over and over and over again throughout the campaign. Now look, this is part of a new genre of news here at the Damage Report. It's Trump backing off from his soaring rhetoric during the campaign. So the initial entrance in this was generally his economics. So we did videos on his comments about inflation and prices. He'd been saying over and over again, we're gonna get it down and we're gonna get it down so fast, faster than anyone has ever imagined. And now that he's about to be president, it's actually something he needs to do. He's like, well, it's actually super hard. I mean, who knows if we could actually do it? And his supporters are, I guess, starting to notice that and getting a little bit worried. And now we have the foreign policy aspect of this. Now, I want to remind you, he said he would have Russia-Ukraine settled in the first 24 hours over and over and over again. He loved saying that. One day, he'd settle this intractable problem that has caused literally hundreds of thousands of casualties. And now it's, I don't know, it's pretty tough. It's tougher than the Middle East and everything, which, look, I don't know which of those is tougher. I know both of them are pretty tough though. And so all of a sudden, Michael, we have yet another of his big promises being backtracked on. Now, that's not really a surprise to us. We knew that he wasn't going to do that stuff if he even wanted to do that stuff. But I wonder how many MAGA people are seeing this. Are they potentially feeling a little buyer's remorse? What do you make of this?
And not for a second. They didn't feel buyer's remorse over the things that he wasn't able to get done when he was president the first time. They forgive every single thing he does. That is why I, always say that it's cult-like behavior. It's a cult of personality, and it's somebody who, and not all of them. I mean, not everybody who voted for Donald Trump was part of the MAGA cult. A lot of people didn't like Vice President Harris. A lot of people were just Republicans, and so it's not everybody. But the ones you're talking about, no, I don't think they pay close attention. The ones that do don't care because they give him a pass on everything. You also have to remember that he, throughout his campaigning, said that these two conflicts would never have happened had he been president in the first place. He was also president for 4 years, and there were problems in the Middle East. It wasn't at the same level, but it had nothing to do with the American presidency. And solving it over the past 60 some odd years hasn't happened. So I think that there's the notion that he could come in and have an easy time in the Middle East is absurd. Also, one thing to remember is that Gaza's already been decimated, right? It's already been completely decimated. So to say you could settle it afterwards is obviously it's almost settled because of how uneven it was and what happened.
Sure. Yeah, and let's remind everyone, it's not like he's gonna Jimmy Carter it and like take them in and work through all their issues and come to like an equally acceptable. His clear solution to both of them is give the aggressor everything they want. You're done now. That land is not yours. Just give in. Like, sure, I guess that's a simple thing to ask for. You could do that in 24 hours, but I don't consider that like complex, admirable diplomacy necessarily. But we'll see. And I want to remind everyone, you mentioned, the MAGA movement's willingness to not see the issues with Donald Trump. To give everyone, like, I guess, a preview of their ability maybe to go the next 4 years of maybe Ukraine still being bombed and maybe Gaza still being decimated and not have an issue with it. When they look back on his first term, what do they say? They say, under Trump, no wars. There were no wars. Now, what they mean, if they were to think about it enough to mean anything, is he didn't get us into any wars. But what they're discounting is the wars we were in. They don't count Syria, they don't count Afghanistan, they don't count Iraq, they don't count Yemen, they don't count any of the conflicts we were in because that was already there when he became president. Now, he did nothing to get us out of those. They continued, he accelerated some of those, massively increased our bombing. We lost troops in these conflicts. None of that counts for them. And he reposts these memes constantly on Truth Social about Donald Trump, 4 years, no wars. So they've already proven their willingness to ignore the evidence of their eyes. Anyway, sorry, continue.
I want to say one thing about what you just said, because it's so true, is that when I was out covering Trump rallies around the country this past year, I would ask people, is there anything Donald Trump could do to lose your support? Invariably, they said no. But when they did answer it, they said, I guess start a war. And those are the only people that's the only thing they said was, I guess start a war. So, and again, that wasn't a big number. It was mostly a no.
Man, imagine being that in support of a thing. There's nothing they could do that would. There's stuff Bernie could do that would cause me to have an issue.
One guy said to me, honestly, he could just shoot somebody and I wouldn't care. He's that good. He's that good. At what?
I don't know. I'm threatening to shoot people historically. Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.